Hello friends, today we are starting a new lesson. A closer look 1, Unit 8 Films. So can you subscribe to my channel please? Thank you very much. Here we go. First of all, let's look at the vocabulary. Do you know this actor, Charlie Chaplin, is a very hilarious Englishman? Hilarious, very funny, hilarious. So it is in Vietnamese vi non hai hook. And I found the book so gripping that I couldn't put it down. So gripping, adjective. So it is hấp dẫn and thú vị. So Annabella is one of the most scary dolls in the world. Scary is adjective. It's an adjective. So what is this in Vietnamese? Đáng sợ or dâng zon, and frightening is kind of adjective. Okay, frightening, making you feel frightened. Being held at gunpoint had been the most frightening moments of his life. The experience was very frightening or scary. They are synonym, especially in spoken language we use scary, means frightening. Scary is less formal than frightening and is very common in everyday English. The movie was really scary. There were some scary moments. Frightening. In Vietnamese, gai sợ hãi or lam cho sợ. And do you know this guy? Barack Obama. This is very moving moment of President Obama. Moving is kind of adjective. Come, tong. And next one, she is exhausted after a long run. Exhausted is kind of adjective, and in Vietnamese it is kiệt sức or đuối. And who loves me, my dad or my mom? The more I think, the more confused I get. Confusing is kind of adjective. Okay, and it's in Vietnamese gai nam lan gai ho hieu. And students are so violent nowadays. Violent is kind of adjective, and bạo lực, hung bạo. And next one, this shocking python used to live on Earth years ago. So shocking, unbelievable, like. Shocking is kind of adjective. In Vietnamese, gai sok and sung sot. And next one, annoying is kind of adjective, and in Vietnamese, gai phiền or lắm phiền. And next one, embarrassing. So nung or queer, something like that. So let's look at the stress. Okay, this is stress. So let's look at the stress? Where is the stress in these adjectives? Okay, hilarious, hilarious. It's in the second syllable. And next one is gripping, gripping in the first syllable, and scary, scary. And frightening, frightening in the first syllables, and moving in the first syllable, and then exhausted, exhausted, exhausted. And next one is confusing, confusing in the second syllable here, confusing. Next one is violent, violent in the first syllables, and then shocking, shocking in the first syllable, and then annoying, annoying in the second syllable, and next one is embarrassing, embarrassing, embarrassing. Okay, now let's check the vocabulary, and do you remember them? Okay, here we go, and let's see if you remember them or not. So do you remember what is it in English? Hilarious, and this one. Gripping, what about this one? Scary, what about this one? Frightening, and this one? Moving, and this one? Exhausted, what about this one? Confusing, what about this one? Violent, and do you remember this one? Shocking, and do you remember it? Annoying, what about this one? Do you remember it? Embarrassing, embarrassing. Okay, now exercise 1. The following are adjectives which are often used to describe films. Can you add some more? Boring, entertaining, and interesting. Okay? Boring, entertaining, and interesting. Hilarious, violent, and exciting. Gripping, moving, and surprising. Scary, shocking, frightening. Frightening. Annoying, annoying, annoying. Okay, and etc. Here we go. Now complete the sentences using the adjectives in the list below. So, these are our adjectives and we will use them to complete these sentences. Number 1, Mr. Bean. Do you remember Mr. Bean is a funny man? So, Mr. Bean is a hilarious film. I was laughing from beginning to end. Number 2, Titanic. So, Titanic. Titanic. Number 2, Titanic is a moving film. I cried at the end. Number 3, the film was so boring that I fell asleep. Number 4, I couldn't take my eyes off the screen because the film was so gripping. And Pirates of Southeast Asia is a shocking documentary. I couldn't believe it. And number 6, you will be frightened when you see that film. It's a very scary film. And number 7, there was too many fights in the action film. It was too violent. You will enjoy the film. It is so entertaining. Okay? This one is violent. And this one is scary. Okay? Here we go. Now remember, we have two kinds of adjectives. which ends ed or ing. Okay, so we can form adjectives by adding ed or and ing next to some verbs. Example, ed adjectives: annoyed, interested, and disappointed. What about ing adjectives? Annoying, interesting, and disappointing. So look at this example, please. There's a picture here. So he is sleeping here, or he is very bored because the film was long and I was bored. Okay, like that. So I was bored. I was affected by the long and boring film. I felt bored of it. Okay, so film was boring and I was bored. Okay, film can be boring, but film can't be or cannot be bored. Okay, and so I is passive subject here, as you see, and there is here ed. I was bored. So we use ed's adjectives to describe someone's feelings. Okay, so if you are talking about the people's feeling, you should use adjective plus ed, like bored. I was bored, she was bored, he was bored, something like that. Look at this example, please. The film was long and boring. You see? The film was boring. We can't say bored. Okay? We can't say bored. Boring. Because film cannot be bored. Okay? It can be boring and long. So the film had an effect on our feeling, which made us feel bored. Okay, so people can be boring and also bored, but film can't be bored. It can be boring. Okay. We use ing adjectives to describe things or people that cause the feelings. Okay, so more examples. Look at this picture. So she is shocked because something is shocking here. Okay, the news was shocking. She was very shocked when she read the news. It is past tense, verb 2. Okay, because we have was here. And let's look at here. So she is very tired. Okay, so working hard all day is tiring. She felt tired because she's a person, human, after working hard all day. And look at here, she is frightened because they are frightening. I am frightened of spiders. Those spiders look frightening. Exercise 2. Complete the table with the ed and ing forms of the adjectives. If a person or thing is boring, then he or she or it makes you bored. So interesting something can make you interested. Okay, and embarrassing, embarrassed. And next one is, I want to read one more time, embarrassing, embarrassed, embarrassing, embarrassed. And next one is exciting, excited, exciting, excited, disappointing, disappointed, disappointing, disappointed, exhausting, exhausting, exhausted, exhausted. And surprising, surprising, surprised, surprised. Confusing, confusing, confused, confused. And frightening, 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 frightened, frightened. Annoying, annoying, annoyed, annoyed. Okay? And exercise 3. Choose the correct adjectives. Number 1. The end of the film was so moving. Number 2. The boy was so frightened by the film that he couldn't sleep last night. Number 3. Critics were disappointed at his performance as King Lear. And number 4. I am amazed that he was won 2 Oscars for Best Actor. And number 5. We were terrified of the ending of that horror film. Exercise 4a. Work in pairs. Look at the questions below. Tell your partner how you felt using ed adjectives. How did you feel? First of all, let's look at the example. I felt worried. For example, how did you feel before your last math test? I felt worried. Okay, feel. It is irregular verb, so it is felt in the past. Okay, in the past, because it is an irregular verb. And next one, when you watched a gripping film. How did you feel when you watched a gripping film? I felt excited. And how did you feel? How did you feel after you watched a horror film? I felt frightened. And number 4. How did you feel when you got a bad mark? I felt disappointed. Disappointed. Now 4b. Now use ing adjective to describe these things and experiences in your life. Let's look at the example. The last film I saw was called Norwegian Wood. It was really moving. Okay? So, or the last film I saw was called Harry Potter. It was really interesting. So let's look at these sentences. Number 2. I had an argument with my friend last week. It was annoying. Argument, annoying, annoying. And next one. The result of my last English test was amazing. Amazing. And next one. 4. The last party I attended at my brother's house was exciting. Exciting. And now pronunciation, TD and it. The ways to pronounce ed at the end of ordinary verbs, regular verbs, okay? So we use ed for regular verbs, not for irregulars. Okay? So there are here some rules. So first of all, let's look at it sound, okay? If the verb ends with D and T, okay, like visit, visited, it, need, needed. Mend, mended. Want, wanted. Visit, visited. Need, needed. Mend, mended. Want, wanted. Okay? And T sound. So, if the verb ends with the K, X, S, P, Ch and Sh and F, like that, look, looked. Fax, faxed. Pass, passed. Stop, stopped. Watch, watched. Wash, washed. Laugh, laughed. We pronounce like T, T. Okay? And the next rule about D, strong D sound. If the verbs end with all voiced consonant like B, D, G, J, L, M, N, R, S, V, V, W, Y, and Z, and any vowels like answer, answered, play, played, beg, begged, low, lowed, we pronounce like strong D. Okay? So it's very important. Here we go. Now exercise 5. Listen and repeat the verbs. Pay attention to the sound T, D, D and it at the end of each verb. Okay? So I will pronounce for you and then we will write them in the columns in the table. Played, watched, waited, danced, bored, closed, needed, walked, hated. Okay? Let's write them in the column, in the table. Played, D. And watched, T, T. And waited, waited, ud sound. Danced, danced. And bored, bored, D sound. And closed, closed, D sound, strong D sound. Needed, needed, ud sound. And walked, walked, T sound. And hated, hated, ud. Okay? That's okay. Working pairs, exercise 6. Working pairs ask and answer questions about the pictures, then listen to the recording. Okay, so look at this picture. And he cried a lot, didn't he? No, he didn't. He laughed a lot. Okay. So, did she paint her room? No, she didn't. She brushed it. Did they watch TV? No, they didn't. They watched it. Did she close the window? No, she didn't. She opened it. And did they pull their motorbike? No, they didn't. They pushed it. Now, choose the correct answer. Okay? It's kind of test, a short test. So let's choose the correct answer. Number 1, I don't find sport at all interesting. There is an exciting football match on TV tonight. Number 3, when he got mark 1 in math, he was disappointed. and odd one out. Stayed, enjoyed, stopped, repaired. Stayed, d sound. Enjoyed, d sound. Repaired, d sound. Stopped like t sound. D, d, d. But this one is t, okay? And odd one out, laughed, coughed, promised, and weighed. So this one is different, okay? All are like t. Laughed, coughed, promised, weighed, d. Okay? This one is d sound. All are like t. Here we go. So thank you for watching. It's end of our lesson today. So don't forget to like my videos if you find it useful and helpful. And please subscribe to my channel if you want to see my next videos. See you soon and take care. Bye bye.